Video games.
What up, dudes? Matt here from YoVideogames, and I'm here to talk about, well, the Tokon alpha, the second closed alpha that recently finished up, and basically these are just my initial impressions of it. Now, to be completely fair, I wanted to let everyone know I'm intermediate when it comes to fighting game skill. I would say low end intermediate. Like if there was like beginner, never played a fighting game, like kind of know them, upper beginner, and then there's like lower intermediate, middle intermediate, higher intermediate. I'm lower intermediate. I'm not very good at fighting games, admittedly. I admit. But I do know them, and I've been playing them, for the better part of 30 plus years since Street Fighter 2 came out. Heck, I was playing Kung Fu on the NES even before that. But anyways, Tokon, Marvel Fighting Souls, Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls, I think that's the official title, got its second alpha, and I was able to get into this one. Now, I have played this game at EVO, but, I got like 15, 20 minutes of it at hands-on time at EVO. Not really enough to really get a good feel for the game, but now I finally got a feel for the game after putting in some hours into this closed alpha. And a lot of the sort of opinion in just general, I don't know, I guess you could say community feel for the game is kind of gone in a different direction probably than I believe Marvel or Sony would have wanted. But this is kind of something I was saying coming out of EVO, and something I think a lot of people probably didn't think about when they got announced, because it gets announced in June, at the end of a state of play, and we're like, oh my god, big fancy Arc System, Tag Fighter, Marvel Tag Fighter, this is amazing. And I think a lot of people couldn't really, for whatever reason, didn't really disassociate Marvel from Marvel versus Capcom, because it's an Arc System game, and it was never going to play anything like Marvel versus Capcom. Now, again, we do have Dragon Ball Fighters to go off of from Arc System, so you could probably sit there and be like, well, it could be a lot like that, and it is like that a little bit, but it's further away from Marvel vs. Capcom than even Dragon Ball Fighters was. There's a lot of interesting DNA in here where you can see sort of like from Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle, and see it from Grand Blue versus Rising. But it is not a Capcom versus Style Fighter. And that was my takeaway coming out of EVO, and I kind of was trying to say it's not really going to play like the way you think it is. And for some people that kind of was a little bit of a sticker shock. But I think what's more surprising is like to just really kind of nutshell this. Okay, so how does Tokon play? How does it feel? It feels like if someone took modern controls from Street Fighter 6 and then built a tag-based fighter around modern controls. That's what it feels like, because you have your light, heavy, medium. I'm forgetting medium, light, medium, heavy, and you have a tag button. And those are like your basic buttons. And then there's all these other hot commands too, as well. And they added even an active tag button, because normally you have to hold the tag button to tag rather than assist. You tap for assist, hold for tag. They added a button that's just a single tap on the controller as L2. They added a single button, just tag. I just have to tap L2 to tag in, which I could definitely see the game desperately needed. But one of the two big complaints kind of coming out of this alpha, and I kind of understand them, I kind of share them, is one, auto combos are still very, very, very good. The other thing is there was no training mode in this alpha, so there was no labbing for most people. They did add, halfway into the beta, they added, or alpha, whatever it was, they added the ability to fight against the CPU, which is pretty good. I think that was generally appreciated, for people to lab. But it was the whole thing kind of felt like, okay, well, auto combos are kind of the way the game is meant. It's designed around it. Like in Street Fighter 6, when you do modern controls, if you hold down R2 and you just mash light, you'll do a light combo. You hold down R2, you mash triangle on PlayStation, you do a medium combo. That'll lead into like a super. Same with heavy. Game works the same way here. In fact, the only thing that's different here is that you don't even need to hold down a button to do an auto combo. Auto combos just happen. And unless they say there's going to be a way to turn off manually turn off auto combos, but the core crux of the game is built around you tap light, it always just does auto combo. You can tap light, medium, heavy, and you can kind of make your own manual combos as long as you don't like tap the same button like more than like twice or 3 times. But the game is just built around it. And I think a lot of people are really unhappy with from a sort of professional competitive scene is that you can get more damage out of a manual combo, something you had to do yourself. The problem is that the difference is not that great. Like you can do very well just doing the auto combo stuff. And it happened to me a lot during the beta where I would see someone who's obviously much better than me at the game, and they're working their tail off to get, a really fancy, manual entered combo with the tags and assists and all this stuff. And they're doing all kinds of extra work. And all I really had to do was either block it or just wait for the combo to end. And then, all right, as long as I get some spacing and fundamentals in, I can just start auto comboing him. And I'll do like a heavy auto combo into a level 3 super. And I have done all the damage he worked his butt off to get, and I've done it by tapping circle a few times. And I can see why that generally frustrates competitive higher end level players, because you don't really have to put a lot of work into this game. Now, like, in the end, I do think what's going to happen, and we kind of see it happening by the end of it, is that the pro players are going to learn timing and spacing better than someone who just sits there and just mashes the button all day, obviously. But you could also learn timing and spacing, and you don't have to worry about like learning any sort of fancy maneuver. You could still do reasonably well just by like playing the raw fundamentals of spacing and timing, and then just not put any work or effort into it and get way too comfortably close to the amount of damage someone who's putting all kinds of effort into making a manual combo work. And I think that's what's driving a lot of the competitive scene crazy. The other thing is that the game is just generally slow. It is slower than Dragon Ball FighterZ by a pretty decent amount. I mean, you can see it here in the footage. Like, it's just a slower paced game. I mean, Doom is a little bit of a hulking, slower paced character. Spider-Man is obviously your more fast type of character, but like, it's just a slower paced game in general. That doesn't mean the screen doesn't get chaotic as all get out, with the constant barrage of tagging in and out. But yeah, it's just a slower paced game, and most versus game players are used to games running at the speed of light. So yeah, this game is made with a casual audience, probably at the forefront of everything. We don't know what sort of single-player modes are going to be, and there will be single-player modes, obviously, but we don't really know what is going on there because, again, this is an online beta. This is an online alpha. Like, they're doing things. They're testing the netcode here. So, yeah, obviously we have no idea what we're looking into single-player-wise, but I think the core concept of this game was to just press buttons, watch cool stuff happen. That's kind of the thesis of the game. There are other things in this alpha that I'm a little confused by design-wise. The big one for me, and this is kind of what throws me off a lot, is this is a 4v4 tag fighter, technically. You only have one life bar. The whole team shares the same life bar, which is interesting. But what really is weird is how the tag mechanics work. And that is, when you start a match, you only have one person extra on your team. That's it. You don't have the other 2 teammates until one of 2 things happen. Either you get beat up a lot and get screen transitioned, or you do multiple screen transitions to the other person, which doesn't happen on the X-Men stage. It's more like wall bounces there. The other thing is that you could get beat up and then wait for the round. Like, if you lose a round, then you'll get a tag added to you. But here's where this gets really weird. You could be in the middle of round 2 and still only have 1 assist. 1 person on your team. That's crazy. And the reason it gets really crazy there is because you want to do big long combos in this game, and they are kind of tied to the tag. Like, you're doing tags in the middle of combos, or a little assists that come out and extend the combos and all that. All the crazy sauce is in the tags and assists. And if you do really, really well in round 1, and still do well in round 2, you could be halfway through round 2 and only have 1 assist, meaning you do not have access to the full length of your combos. You don't have the access to like doing like crazy, like if you built your meter up all the way, you couldn't do like a 3-person super to super to super. Like you couldn't do all the things that your assembled team can do if you start off really well. You have to get beat up, or you have to screen transition. You have to do other things. You have to do chores basically to earn the rest of you, to earn your full team. Now, obviously, by the end of any round, you're probably going to have access to your full team, but it's kind of wild and crazy that you will easily go the whole first round with 1 tag. It's a 2v2 practically, like, unless something happens where like you screen, and that's another thing too. The X-Men stage is a single stage. It's the only single screen stage in the game. Now, I'm a guy who loves his stages, but good googly moogly, like, the stage transitions on the rest of the game happen way too easily. Like, Guilty Gear Strive has, like, the wall splat, and then when they're splatted on the wall, then you hit them more, and then they break the wall splat and go. They don't have that. You just get hit hard enough near the edge of a screen, you're going to the other, you're transitioning. I've been in transitions a third of the way. I have caused my opponent to get knocked to a new stage when he was a third of the way to the middle of the stage, or I'm sorry, halfway to the middle of the stage, like in that somewhere right in between there, like a good distance from the edge. But hey, I hit him hard enough and he just went flying to the other screen, which actually screws up your combos, because there are combos and combo enders and combo extenders that kind of require you to, like, basically, you do it at the end of a super, with a tag assist or whatever. But if they screen transition, you can't actually extend your combo. So, like, the game is kind of getting in the way of you doing some of the sauciest stuff sometimes, which makes people just want to play on the X-Men stage. I mean, it's the X-Men stage, so thank God or whatever. But there's just a bizarre design. I mean, I get it. Stage transitions are cool. I love stages. I love stages more than most people in fighting games. Most people in the fighting game community don't give a flying rat's ass about backgrounds and stages. And I think they add a wonderful spice and flavor to a fighting game. But this game is the most, taking it to the hardest extreme of the stage transitions and having so much stuff. And they want you to see it so much that it now is getting in the way of gameplay. Like, it should be a little harder. It should be a little more unique to knock someone to the other end of the stage, other side of the world, than what it is doing. So, yeah. Again, this is very much I have no idea where the design mentality behind this came from. Like, it seems like they thought it'd be cool to have lots of cool stage transitions, but it happens so fast, so easily, that it just kind of like it really gets in the way. And I say this as someone who effing loves screen transitions, but like they just happen so fast or so easily in this game, that it kind of makes things just hard to land or lab like good big combos, because people are just flying around all about. So that being said, all at the end of the day, did I like this game? Did I enjoy the game? Yeah, I had a good time. Like, the positives are very self-evident. It's a beautiful game. It looks incredible graphically. The music is actually pretty wild and crazy. Storm's theme in particular, amazing. Chef's kiss. Iron Man is like this sort of diet light version of a Guilty Gear song. Not quite hitting the same notes, but you could definitely see the effort was there. So yeah, it's definitely living up to the Arc System sound legacy, and obviously already living up to the visual legacy that is in Arc System Works games. But yeah, the gameplay is just, this ain't gonna be for people who for 20 plus years were used to the Marvel versus style or the Capcom versus style fighting. It's not gonna be appealing to them, and it's it's even going to have a little bit of trouble, I think, with Dragon Ball FighterZ fans because, again, this game is a little slower paced than Dragon Ball FighterZ. It's a singular life bar. It's operating under different rules and mechanics than Dragon Ball FighterZ did with its true 3v3 life bar mechanics. So it's just a kind of interesting, bizarre game that I think is good. I think is good, but personally, I'm not. I'm a little whelmed by it, I guess is one way to put it, because I don't play versus games. I'm not good at them. I've never been good at them. I've never learned how to play a versus style fighting game. So, and in fact, I would be perfect for this. I think I did better at Tokon than I've ever done at any Capcom versus game ever in my entire life, just in this weekend. But it was boring. And I think that's kind of the weird thing is that because it is 3 rounds, you have to win 3 rounds. It's first to 3 rather than first to 2 like most of these versus style games. The fights tend to feel like they go on a while, especially since in that first round you don't have access to your full team. So it just gets weird, man. It can feel like a very long drawn out fight, So I think the game is good, but I think it's trying to appease an audience that is not aficionados. It's not versus game alumni. It's going for a whole different set of people. And frankly, it's going for the people who kind of cut their teeth on fighting games with modern controls in Street Fighter 6. Frankly, it is what it is. If you can live with that, if you're willing to find, because there is depth and there is sauce here. If you're willing to look for it and find it, I think it will be a quality game. And I think there will be stuff to find here. I don't think it's a bad. I don't think this is any way a bad thing. I grew up in an era when terrible fighting games would come out once a month in the 90s. Especially the sea of just shovelware Mortal Kombat clones, including Naughty Dog's first game. But yeah, I know what a bad fighting game is. This isn't a bad fighting game. This is not even close to a bad fighting game. But it's also not the fighting game I think a lot of MVC players have been waiting a very long time for. This ain't that game. It is its own thing. And how you come to terms with that or how you approach that, I think will determine how much you get out of the game in the long run. But yeah, it's good, but a little dry, and even as someone who just would be abusing auto combos like myself, it feels like a hollow victory. It feels like I had a lot of hollow victories because I didn't really earn it. All I had to learn was a little bit of timing and spacing, and that was it. It's a weird feeling, weird feeling. Hollow victory, with a lot of these matches. So that's all I got to say on Tokon. Let me know what you guys think. If you got to participate in it, let me know how you felt about it. And yeah, I'll see you on the channel. Later, dudes.